Good evening, Dayvon Love, Director of Public Policy, Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle. I want to first thank this committee for the establishment of the Community Repair and Reinvestment Fund, the underlying principle that if we are to repair the damage done by the way the criminal justice system was weaponized against people of African descent, then there needs to be real material compensation in order to say that justice is being done, and that should not be contingent on an interest in participating in the cannabis industry proper. With that being said, I want to call this committee's attention to page 15 that looks at the formula as to how this fund is distributed to different jurisdictions. So the way the fund is set up is that each jurisdiction gets a percentage of this fund, and it's determined by that jurisdiction's contribution to cannabis-related arrest over a 20-year period that is designated in this section. I don't understand why, but for some reason in this bill, that language has changed. And the crucial part that has changed is that it's changed from arrests, the number of arrests that that jurisdiction has contributed, to individuals arrested. And again, an example as to why this is important. Between 1999 and 2006, Martin O'Malley's zero tolerance policy, there were 757,000 illegal arrests. And there weren't 757,000 people in Baltimore City. You get that number because people were arrested over and over and over again. And so the importance of this formula being based on arrests is to ensure that the funds are distributed in a way that properly understands and considers the fact that these jurisdictions were impacted the most. And so it should be, and so it's really just reverting back to the original language of which this fund was established is the amendment that I put before you today. Thank you.
Good evening, Lawrence Grandpre, Director of Research for Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle. We support this amendments to ensure we have enough money for the Community Reinvestment Fund to support robust reparations to the war on drugs. State tax rates on cannabis nationwide vary between 15% on the low end and up to 40% on the high end. By starting at 6%, Maryland will be out of step with national best practices. Maine, given credit for its low cannabis taxes and effectiveness at undermining the black market, started at 15%. New Mexico, which is also praised as a model, locked in a low tax rate of 12% for 3 years, then increased up to 18%. Virginia, our only neighbor with recreational cannabis tax, starts at 20%. High taxes can make cannabis more expensive, but there's no demonstrable evidence that low taxes themselves can lower the cost of cannabis. Much of the fear around high taxes comes from California, which shares a border with Mexico for smuggling cannabis, has the space to hide massive outdoor illegal grows, and a tax rate nearly double anything we'd advocate for. Also, the CEO of Weed Maps, Chris Beal, says it's density of retail establishments, not tax rates, that's a crucial factor in undermining the black market. Cannabis Public Policy Consulting produced a report in which they said the optimal tax rate to undercut the black market in Maryland specifically is twice the tax rate currently in this bill, stating, quote, "We recommend a 15 to 20% tax to maximize rapid shifts to the adult use market." They also stated starting at 10% and working up will be optimal. That's our proposed amendment. We recommend starting at 10% and going up 1% per year to 15%, the low end of what these experts say is the optimal tax rate. This will not meaningfully increase the cost of cannabis to consumers. The difference between the $50 purchase costing around $53 without in the status quo versus $57 under our amendment. This would keep Maryland on the low end of the lowest cannabis tax rates in the country, and estimates show they will only make about a 2% impact on the black market, on sales going to the black market. While the impact in the black market is minor, potential impacts on revenue could be massive. Using the numbers in the fiscal note, over the first 5 years, Maryland would miss out on up to $250 million in overall tax revenue, and our Community Reinvestment Fund will lose up to $75 million without our amendment. The tax rate printed in the bill will create an expectation among consumers and businesses, and this may be hard to change in the future. We ask you to consider this amendment so we can get this right the first time. We're open to feedback. We agree with low taxes. This amendment is a low tax structure. We just don't need to miss out potentially on millions of dollars of revenue because we're asking low taxes to do something it can't do on its own, ensure cheap cannabis and destroy the black market by itself. So thank you.